Well, I'm sticking with this uh, State of the School series, State of Frank's School at the Camp Ranch campus. Uh, this is going to be the 10th, I believe, video in this series, and there's probably going to be, I don't know, 30 before I'm done. I'm going to just stick with it until I've pretty much said my piece. But I'm moving to a second overarching subject that has, or project, I might say, that's been here for decades. Uh, I started with water management, which probably is the longest. But I'm going to leave that. But there was a segue, I think you call it, where when I said what I intend to do with water management this spring, that is holding back the spring runoff and perching it up on the mountain uh, as a perched water table. That would, to do effectively, would take quite a few other people. I suggested dozens, scores, that would be 20s. Well, that would probably be plenty, but it's something that really I could take that up to 100 people could be involved in that. It's easy, fun work. I mean, it would be in the springtime, I'm talking the month of May, it would be at its peak. April, your hands might be getting a little bit cold, but all that pleasantness of nature. Well, anyway, that brought me to the question of housing, and that's going to be my next overarching subject. Now, housing, I house animals, and I've housed animals for as long as I've been here, and that continues to be really my principal concern next to my own family is caring for, giving housing, protection, food, water to my animals, which at the peak have been, well, I had cows, I had horses, I had monkeys, little tiny marmosets for a while. That's way back. Chickens, goats, pigs. But and that's related to the housing, but you probably thought human housing, and that's what I'll talk about, I think, at first. Um, it's ironic that where I live, there are two houses, what people would normally think of houses, big houses. Where I actually lived, where three of us live, there were four of us living here when both my children were here. In a case of emergency, this house could house three times that many people. It would be, they'd have to use an outdoor toilet, but it's a fairly large house for three people, I think, although others maybe wouldn't. And then there's the cherry tree house just out the way, which I moved 70 miles for my mother. It's a huge house. It's probably the biggest house in Dutch Corner. It's empty. Uh, and if it were full, when it was full at harvest time with the workers back in Cherry Tree, Pennsylvania, it probably housed, I don't know, 30, maybe 40 people. But those are off limits. When I'm talking housing now, I'm going to talk about housing that I can do and that others could do. And there's the terms cheap or affordable, decent housing. Well, this would be affordable. Decent? I think decent. I think very decent. More decent than most houses. But they would be tiny. But I'm not talking about tiny houses. This is going to be an overarching subject, so I'm going to not try to get it all in here at once. But I did brag some 2-3 months ago that I could house 100 people by Christmas. If the need were there. Now, there's not that much time left now, but I'll show you what I was talking about. And I'll eventually, well, those that follow this series, this channel, you've been out and you've seen what I've been doing. I do have places prepared for housing. Well, they're not prepared. They're prepared to be built, for about 120 or so, 125 people and their pets. But I'll go on with that. The basic unit that I've been using for years, is called faux cut. And I'll tell you about a faux cut in the next video.